Hello, I'm Phil Jac's avatar. A study by Luminate shows that in 2023, around 100,000 new music tracks are added to streaming platforms every day, and 46 million tracks received no plays. Their algorithms are therefore failing to give an equal chance to all musicians. And these numbers will increase exponentially in the coming years with the arrival of generative AI. When there are many candidates for a few professional positions, peer-to-peer selections are organized. Doctors choose who becomes a doctor of medicine. The same goes for lawyers, dentists, pharmacists, teachers, etc. Even though there are still competitions for classical music in some countries, for popular music, which constitutes the bulk of the market, it is still Mr. Burns, the head of the major company, who decides. Remember, the same Mr. Burns who creates artificial rarity in a Simpsons episode with his giant parasol to block out the sun. Mr. Burns selects professional musicians, swearing he does it for the public, but without being able to listen to all the music in the world. If our ministers of culture in each state arbitrarily decided who the professional musicians were, you would be outraged and take to the streets to protest. But you give this power to Mr. Burns without regrets. Why? Probably because you dream that he will detect your genius and call you tomorrow night? I know this feeling. There are 3 essential criteria for selecting a professional musician. 1 is the objective and technical view. What talent? 2 is the purely subjective view. This doesn't touch me emotionally. 3 is the marketing view. This will sell. Only the 3rd is relevant to Mr. Burns. And very often Mr. Burns does me too, meaning he listens to the music that makes money for his competitors and produces the same. The reality is that the system of curators that has existed since the 1950s, whether they are specialized journalists, record label executives, publishers, or playlist owners on streaming platforms, is no longer coherent with the number of works produced each day. They can't listen to everything, and this has been the case for over 30 years. Maybe the song and the genius of the century are completely unknown to you because they simply have never been heard by anyone. Have you ever thought about that? The selection that could create real rarity, that of talent, is therefore failing, and it reinforces the failure of the music economy since the advent of the public web. Purely arbitrary, it creates a vast funnel, a tunnel of disappointment and frustration into which shovel sellers rush. You know, according to the old adage, during the gold rush in the far west, it was the shovel sellers who got rich. The gatekeepers of music are often large groups that own FM radios, televisions, newspapers, and advertising agencies, and practice what is called cross-partnerships. Their monstrous power over our cultures and the lives of artists is to turn pumpkins into golden carriages in a few days, keeping other contenders at bay with what is called in economy a market entry threshold. You have to pay to emerge, pay a lot, and only they can pay the price. Music is a pay-to-win video game, and we musicians, we post our songs on the web like buying a national lottery ticket. Let's have an artificial intelligence calculate the probability that a musical work posted on a major streaming platform will become an international hit. It is 1 in 487,805. This means that for every 487,805 tracks posted, only 1 could become an international hit. The probability of winning the EuroMillions jackpot is 1 in 139,838,160. So you might think you have better chances with music. Yes, but if your track is among the 46 million titles with 0 listens in the year, then your probability becomes 0. So stop being depressed if your career doesn't take off, and don't listen to those who give you musical marketing advice saying you are simply bad to sell yourself. The truth is, what you do might be really bad, or it might be brilliant, but you won't know. And if you are a musician, you are not here to do musical marketing, but to make music. If you have to do musical marketing for your creations, it means the current system of algorithms and curators is simply failing. And if you are called narcissistic for practicing a craft that brings no money, don't be offended. In psychology, primordial narcissism is what allows us all to live. We all seek to impress others, in one way or another. Musicians love competition. They love hits and rankings, because the very essence of the desire to create is to impress others. Comparing oneself is just a way to progress. A virtuous selection system would be one where musicians choose among themselves the most creative, the most virtuous, and the most emotionally touching. A system where it would suffice to post a song with a simple audio file, without images or videos, and achieve international success by doing nothing other than making music. Falling into the dopamine culture deprives us of so many musical joys. If we want to no longer suffer from musical indifference, maybe we should not post our songs like buying a lottery ticket, but rather like sending a message in a bottle. We should also consider fighting against arbitrary musical selection that currently leaves out the beautiful music of the 5 continents to only value 2 or 3 genres. Perhaps we should search for artists ourselves, support them directly, and share our own selections and favorites. And maybe the big tech companies and startups will work on alternatives to selections by their failing algorithms. There is a vast field of value to be gained here. What a wonderful innovation it would be to ensure that each of the 46 million forgotten songs every year gets at least one human listen. The musical age of the web should be one of cultural diversity from all the continents, because it could moderate the cultural conflicts. And as Voltaire said, all genres are good except the boring ones. Think about this. Thank you. See you soon.